Welcome to Vanguard Football. The greatest players who never won the World Cup. Cristiano Ronaldo never won the World Cup mainly due to Portugal's overall squad limitations compared to dominant teams like Brazil, Germany, and France. Despite his brilliance, football is a team sport, and Portugal often lacked the depth needed to go all the way. Their best finish with Ronaldo was 4th place in 2006. George Weah never won the World Cup because Liberia, his national team, lacked the quality and depth to qualify for the tournament during his career. Despite being one of the greatest African players ever, football is a team sport, and he could not carry the entire squad alone. Liberia came close to qualifying for the 2002 World Cup but fell short in the final stages. Eric Cantona never won the World Cup because he was often at odds with the French national team and was left out of key tournaments. His outspoken personality and disciplinary issues led to conflicts with coaches, especially M. Jacquet, who excluded him from the 1998 squad. France went on to win the World Cup that year without him. Paolo Maldini never won the World Cup despite being one of the greatest defenders in history. He came close in 1994 when Italy reached the final, but they lost to Brazil on penalties. In 1998 and 2002, Italy suffered early exits due to controversial referee decisions and underwhelming performances. Marco van Basten never won the World Cup mainly because of injuries and the Netherlands' inconsistent performances on the world stage. Although he led the Dutch team to Euro 1988 glory, they struggled in World Cups, exiting in the round of 16 in 1990. Persistent ankle injuries forced him to retire at just 28, cutting short his international career. Michel Platini never won the World Cup despite being one of the greatest midfielders in history. France came close in 1982 and 1986 but lost in the semifinals, first to West Germany in a dramatic match and then to Brazil. While Platini led France to Euro 1984 glory, their World Cup campaigns were always hindered by strong opponents. Eusebio never won the World Cup despite being one of the greatest strikers of his era. His best chance came in 1966 when he led Portugal to the semifinals, finishing as the tournament's top scorer, but they lost to England. Portugal's national team struggled to qualify for other World Cups during his career, limiting his chances. Ferenc Puskás never won the World Cup despite being one of the greatest players in football history. He came closest in 1954 when Hungary reached the final but lost to West Germany in a stunning upset. Puskás' career was also affected by political issues, as he was banned from playing for Hungary after defecting to Spain. Roberto Baggio never won the World Cup despite being one of Italy's greatest players. His best chance came in 1994, when Italy reached the final, but they lost to Brazil in a penalty shootout. Baggio missed the decisive penalty, which haunted him for years. Despite his talent and leadership, Italy's World Cup campaigns in 1990 and 1998 were also marred by disappointments. Ruud Gullit never won the World Cup due to the Netherlands' inability to perform consistently on the world stage. Despite his incredible talent and leadership, the Dutch team faced tough opponents in key moments. In 1990, they were eliminated in the quarterfinals by West Germany, and in 1994, they lost to Brazil in the semifinals. Zico never won the World Cup despite being one of Brazil's greatest players. His best chance came in 1982, when Brazil's team was considered one of the best in history, but they were eliminated by Italy in the semi-finals. Zico also struggled with injuries in other World Cups, limiting his impact. Kevin Keegan never won the World Cup due to England's struggles in major international tournaments during his career. Although he was a star player for England, their campaigns in the 1970s and 1980s fell short, with Keegan missing out on key tournaments like the 1974 and 1978 World Cups. England's best finish during his time was the 1982 World Cup. Johan Cruyff never won the World Cup because the Netherlands fell short in crucial moments. In 1974, they reached the final but lost 2-1 to West Germany. Despite Cruyff's brilliance, the team struggled to maintain consistency in later tournaments. Additionally, Cruyff famously refused to play in the 1978 World Cup. Alfredo Di Stefano never won the World Cup because he played for multiple national teams, which complicated his eligibility. Although he was born in Argentina, he represented Colombia and Spain during his career, but none of these teams qualified for the World Cup during his peak years. Despite his immense talent, Oliver Kahn never won the World Cup despite being one of the greatest goalkeepers in history. He came closest in 2002, when Germany reached the final, but they lost 2-0 to Brazil. Kahn's outstanding performances throughout the tournament were overshadowed by his team's defeat. Ryan Giggs never won the World Cup because Wales failed to qualify during his international career. Despite his exceptional club success with Manchester United, Giggs couldn't carry his national team to the tournament, as Wales struggled in qualification campaigns. His talent was undeniable. Dennis Bergkamp never won the World Cup despite being one of the best forwards of his generation. The Netherlands reached the semi-finals in 1998 but lost to Brazil in a penalty shootout. Bergkamp's World Cup chances were further limited by his team's inconsistency in later tournaments. Andriy Shevchenko never won the World Cup due to Ukraine's limited success in major international tournaments. Despite being one of the best strikers in the world, Shevchenko's best World Cup performance came in 2006 when Ukraine reached the quarterfinals, but they were eliminated by Italy. Michael Ballack never won the World Cup despite being one of Germany's best midfielders. He came closest in 2002 when Germany reached the final, but they lost 2-0 to Brazil. Ballack missed the final due to suspension, which hurt Germany's chances. Despite his leadership and skill, the World Cup always eluded him during his career. Winning the World Cup is the ultimate dream, but even the greatest players don't always get that glory. From Cruyff Netherlands to Ronaldo Portugal, these legends shaped football history despite missing out on the sport's biggest prize. Talent alone isn't enough, it takes the right team, timing, and a bit of luck. Who do you think is the best player never to win the World Cup? Comment below.